everyone, a very warm welcome to today's podcast on things no one prepared us while we were growing up. And I genuinely feel super excited to today's conversation because we will be talking about on the topic I'm sure each one of you will deeply resonate with. Hello everyone, I'm Nitika Garg. I'm a life design coach and I'm the founder of The Inner Shift. I help people build confidence, gain clarity, overcome limiting beliefs, and take 100% responsibility of their lives. And the best part is, I am joined with some incredible coaches and inspiring minds who are going to do an amazing work in helping people grow, heal, and reconnect with themselves. So get ready for this very real, relatable, and insightful conversation. And before we dive into, let's quickly meet our wonderful speakers. So starting with Shika.
Thank you, Nitika, for this wonderful introduction. Hi, I'm Shika, self sovereignty coach, helping you stop living by everyone else's script and reclaiming your own authority over your life. By training, I'm a lawyer. By calling, a life coach and an NLP practitioner. I'm going to give you an insight on handling expectations. So, I'll be exploring what actually makes that so hard. The silent expectations we carry into every relationship, every room, every conversation, and how we rarely talk about that. So, nobody really prepares us for this. The unspoken expectations that we carry, the ones we never say out loud, but somehow expect people to just know. And most of the time, we don't even realize we're doing it because expectations don't always sound dramatic. Sometimes they sound completely normal. They should understand. They should notice. If I matter to them, they'll just know. And without realizing it, we start emotionally reacting to things we never actually communicated. Have you ever done something for someone, shown up, made the effort, been emotionally present for them, and then quietly felt hurt when they didn't respond the way you imagined they would? And then, on top of that, felt guilty for even feeling hurt? Yeah, that's the feeling I'm talking about. Take a second, think of one person in your life, someone you have really shown up for emotionally. Now ask yourself honestly, what were you quietly hoping they would give back? Understanding, effort, the same emotional energy you naturally give. And while you think about that, just notice something. Did you ever actually say that aloud? Because in our hearts, what happens is we create full emotional movies. We imagine that deep thank you that they're going to tell us, or that emotional understanding, that perfect response. And in reality, something else happens. Maybe just an okay, thanks. Or, yeah, all right, fine. And what happens? Something inside us just drops. You know what that reminds me of? When someone is driving ahead of you, right? There's no indicator on. You're like by looking at the person, you're thinking, okay, this person's gonna go right. Yeah, for sure they're gonna go right. And suddenly they turn left. And your reaction is immediate. What the hell happened? But here's the thing. They never told you they were gonna go right. Your mind just expected it. And this is exactly what happens in relationships. We build silent expectations and then react emotionally. When that does not happen, what happens? We feel hurt. I realized this in my own life. I've always been someone who walks into a room scanning people's emotions. Who's upset? Who needs comfort? Who might feel left out? And without even realizing it, I made myself emotionally responsible for everyone around me. So I adjusted my words, my reactions, my needs, sometimes even my truth. Not because I was being fake, but somewhere inside I learned that if people around me are unhappy, I have failed as a person. And slowly, keeping people happy stopped feeling like kindness. It started feeling like survival. And the strange part was I could actually sit with someone's pain for hours, listen, comfort them, understand them. But when it came to my own sadness, I suddenly became very quiet. So I smiled while exhausted, laughed while I was overwhelmed, and said, I'm fine very automatically. That's when I realized something. I wasn't just caring, I was expecting. expecting people to understand me the way I understood them, expecting honesty because I gave honesty, expecting people to hold space for me because I held space for them. But those expectations of mine was never spoken of. I never told them. And that's where that hurt came from. Not from what happened, but from what I hoped would happen. And this shows up everywhere in relationships. They should understand me without explaining. At work, I should be able to handle everything on my own. At home, I'm doing so much. Why do I still feel unseen? Different situations, same invisible script. The expectation was never spoken about, but the disappointment we felt was completely real. So, expectations here are not the problem. Unnoticed expectations are the ones we don't question, the ones we don't communicate, the ones we don't even realize we're carrying within. Those quietly shape how we feel. And after a while, they start shaping how we see ourselves itself. So if people don't respond a certain way that we have hoped, we start questioning our own values, our effort, and sometimes even ourselves. And that's why becoming aware of our expectations matters so much. So here's something I would like you to try. The next time you feel hurt, the next time you feel unseen, the next time you feel disappointed by someone, before asking what did they do wrong, ask yourself, what was I expecting? And did I actually ever say it to them? This is not to blame yourself, just to become aware. Because the moment you become aware, it stops controlling you in the same way. You stop reacting automatically. What you do is you pause, you understand yourself a little better, and sometimes you realize the hurt wasn't just from the situation, it was from the meaning you silently attached to it. We don't always get hurt by what people do. Sometimes we get hurt by the silent expectations we carry into the moment. And maybe healing happens when we stop believing we have to carry everyone else's emotions while hiding our own. Because you deserve the same understanding, the same care, and the same emotional space that you so freely give everyone else. I'm Shika, your self sovereignty coach, and everything I just said to you, I once needed someone to say to me. That's why I do this work. Thank you, everyone. Yagna, the space is yours now. We'd love to hear their thoughts.
Yeah, I cannot agree more with you, Shika. I was at a point where I used to believe that meeting people's expectations and saying no is how you build relationships. Yeah, I was actually there. So, in a moment, I'll talk about something that felt would have been amazing if I have learned it while growing up. Before that, let me introduce myself. Hi, this is Yagna, a corporate employee, a certified yoga trainer, and a certified life coach, and a founder of Yagna Harshit's Companionship, a space where you can rise from within. So now I want to bring awareness around a topic that I was not taught growing up, but had to learn it through life experiences in a hard way. Think about it. How much are you actually aware of setting boundaries, especially with your inner circle? Because being a kid to today, as a grown up woman, I was told by many to draw boundaries and say no to strangers, neighbors, even some passerbys of life, but was never taught to say no to siblings, parents, and partner. Yes, you heard it right, even with parents and partner. I was always available to my inner circle without asking them to reciprocate. They needed me. I was there. They wanted my time. I made space. Even when something didn't feel right, I still tried. Doing that and being there repeatedly started changing how I felt about it later. Saying yes felt heavy. Showing up always drained me up. Listening to everything and everyone, I left no space to hear my own self. Because in my head, I thought that is what builds strong connections. But it only made me realize that constantly meeting others' expectations will only make me disappear from my own life. Especially when I fight my way into what people need me to be instead of what I want to be. And when there is no reciprocation there, it only becomes heavier. So now let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that every time you said yes to something that you didn't like, that means you're directly saying no to yourself, right? So ignoring your inner voice, thinking that it is okay and normal until it isn't over or until it isn't there. Over time, these small moments adds up and distances you from yourself first and then with others eventually. So meeting expectations doesn't build relations, but clarity does. And setting boundaries brings in that clarity. And boundaries change everything. It helps people understand you and your emotional space better. Here, remember, not everyone will like it, but the right people will not expect you to abandon yourself to keep them in your life. Few years back, recently, a few years back, I tried to draw a boundary with my mom. Honestly, I felt a little uncomfortable telling her that because she's my best friend since starting. But somehow I still managed to convey it to her. At first, she was taken aback. But when I explained why and what made me do that, she didn't just understand me, she told me that I had truly grown up. And in that moment, I could feel how happy and proud she was that I was able to have such a mature conversation with her. Because setting boundaries means sometimes saying no with complete honesty and zero guilt. Because honesty creates stronger relations than silent resentment will ever. And boundaries doesn't mean pushing people away or abandoning relations. It is all about building beautiful relations and connections with yourself and with others without disappearing from it. So now I really hope you all to set that healthy boundaries that you require to build beautiful relations. Saying that, I would like to make a way for Nitika to talk about her piece next. Thank you, and over to you, Nitika.
Thank you so much, Jagnas, for giving me that space. Hello, all. And today I want to show you something very interesting. Not a concept, not a theory. Something very real and everyday experience. Instead of explaining this in words, I would like to take you to a situation. Once I decided to take a detox day for myself. No responsibilities, no kitchen, no rushing, and no rules to follow. I woke up very slow, lazy, feeling very light. I grabbed a cup of tea, I sat by my window, I listened to some beautiful music, and then a thought hit me. A thought of what happened last night. It was just a simple comment I gave to Radhika, but the way she reacted to that was really unexpected. She could have gone a bit polite, her tone could have gone a bit softer, and she could have handled it in a better way. And this was the thing that started repeatedly playing in my mind like a movie on a loop. I started with coming up of different stories in my mind. Like the next time I'll meet her, maybe I won't talk to her. Or maybe next time I meet her, I'll make her understand what exactly went wrong that night. And then I came up with some random stories like next time I meet her, I'll be talking to her exactly the way she did that night to me. I had multiple versions of the stories like a loop in my mind. The scene was same, but it had now different versions, arguments and replies in my mind. The day slipped away. The time passed. The tea have long finished, but the thoughts haven't. I didn't do anything that day, but also I didn't feel relaxed. By the evening, I started feeling very irritated, heavy and tired. My body didn't do anything, but my mind, it overworked. And as my husband entered and he was excited to know how my day was, and I replied that it was like fine, but I don't know, I'm feeling a bit fatigued and mentally exhausted today. So I want you to understand exactly what happened here. The day that was supposed to be light, relaxed, and calm, it turned out to be drained, overloaded and mentally cluttered. Because sometimes we don't get exhausted by what we do, but we get exhausted by what we think. And this is exactly what we call exertion of overthinking. Overthinking is creating loops of mental chaos and overanalysis in our mind, leading to no conclusion. And once I came across a very interesting question, how to get that thin line between healthy thinking and overthinking. So thinking is not a problem. Thinking is necessary. Thinking is important. Thinking helps us understand better, reflect, make us better choices, and make better decisions. So the thin line between the both, I can say, is when it is a healthy thinking, it will lead you to clarity and action. But the overthinking part will make you confused and will get you exhausted. In healthy thinking, you will reflect, you will understand, you will decide, and you will move on. But in overthinking, you will keep on repeating the same thoughts, reaching nowhere. One will give you direction, and the other will drain your energy. So, next time you get caught in any thinking process, just take a pause, notice that is it a healthy thinking helping you grow, or is it a overthinking keep simply exhausting you? So when slowly we come up of the overthinking, we start getting a bit calmer and confident. And I think this beautifully brings us to our next topic. So now here I would love to hand it over to our amazing Vinita.
Thank you so much, Nitika. It was wonderful. And after listening to the difference between the overthinking and healthy thinking, I feel confidence is the next natural step, right? So, hi everyone. My name is Benita Darekar. I am a HR professional. I was a HR professional, and now I'm a certified life coach and founder of Guided Growth. I help capable professionals to build clarity, self trust, and confidence from within. So, when we are talking about the confidence, right, we all feel that confidence is very a by default formula which has been given to us. It should be there in the body or in the mind. But I feel the confidence comes when you take the small actions towards even when you are in a fear, or even in your insecurities. So, because when our thinking become healthier, we don't suddenly become fearless, right? We start creating enough inner clarity to take one small step. How many times we as an individual, I think I in my earlier stage, I always thought that confidence is like I should be fully ready, I should know everything before I do something, because then only I will be able to do properly, right? I should not feel nervous, my hand should not shake, right? It has to be still, it should not shake. But I should know exactly what will happen after what I do. But actually, confidence is not the absence of fear. Confidence is the ability to move forward even when the little fear is present, right? So, let me say, because I have done the NLP training from the neuroscience point of view, our brain likes familiarity. So, whenever we try something new, like speaking in a meeting, starting a business, setting a boundaries, like for me, going on an Instagram live was also one of the fear, right? And even right now, I have those fears. And making an important decision, right? Brain treat this as a risk, not because this is a risk, but because we have some evidence in the past which have treated us as a risk, because we might have been validated, judged, rejected, laughed about. So brain have kept those thought inside and made as a evidence. So that's why we feel hesitate, doubt, or we have a resistance. But the beautiful part is the brain also learn through evidence when we try to make actions. So every time we take small action, our brain receive a new message. I can handle this. So when I started doing the reels in the Instagram, I'm not the influencer, but we still do those things, right? But when I started doing the reels, I was like, to be very honest, the first reel took almost 17 to 18 takes, right? Because that was a fear, like, this is fine, that is fine. Is it going well or no? But uh, over a time, when I started making reels, now this reels is like a one shot for me. I can do 6 reels in an hour or so, right? Because my brain learned from those evidence and it says, no, I can do this. I have done this in the past also. It has went well, right? And I'm capable of learning. So here also the learning part, the growth mindset also comes in, right? And slowly that becomes the evidence, right? If you have, like, thought about it as a coach, that I'm not good enough, or as an individual also, I'm not good enough. If what if people judge me, what if nobody respond properly, the at this realization, confidence will not come by thinking about it. Because when you are just thinking about it and not taking any action and not moving forward, as Nitika said, right, overthinking it and the healthy thinking it. So confidence building is not about becoming completely different person in overnight. It starts with the three simple things. First is, you have to be aware about it. Notice where we doubt ourselves. Second is self trust, reminding ourselves that we don't need to be perfect, certainly to begin with, right? Because we try to do everything properly. Properly is a different thing, perfectly is a different thing, and we sometimes do not have the differentiated properly. So we have to have that. And the third is a small action, doing one thing that proves our brain that I can move even when I feel unsure. Because that time it starts learning that, okay, I can trust myself, I can rely myself. So your brain is also having that nervous system ready for you, right? If you have seen movie, right, recently, I really like the two beautiful characters they have played, their insecurities and how they have come up with come up from that insecurity. So I have seen that movies Do Diwani Sheher Mein in OTT, and hero character has beautifully explained this concept, how he was running away from the meetings and everything, and how in the end of the movie, he actually took a step, went in the stage and speak about it. He knew Shah and Sir में कोई फर्क नहीं होगा. I just have to go and talk about it. So instead of asking how I become fully confident, ask what is the one small action I can take today to build trust in myself. So if there is a one thing I want you to know, is this: confidence is not built by waiting until fear disappears. Confidence is built when we take a small aligned action and slowly teaches our brain that I'm safe to try, I'm safe to learn, I'm safe to grow. And that is how confidence becomes not just an external skills, but internal relation with ourselves. I am now handing over the stage to Dr. Soumya, who will talk about sleep, brain, and imbalanced hormones.
Thank you, Vinita, for a wonderful introduction. In continuation with the brain, hello everyone. Welcome to today's Little Heart to Health conversation. I'm Dr. Soumya Srinivasan, doctor by profession and health and life promotion coach by passion. I'm so grateful you are here with me today because today we are talking about something many of us experience, but very few of us truly understand: stress and hormones. What no one really told us while growing up. When we were younger, most of us were taught how to study hard, how to achieve, how to behave, how to be successful. But very few of us were taught how stress silently affects our body, how emotion can influence our hormones, and how constantly pushing through can slowly disconnect us from ourselves. Nobody told us that the body remembers pressure. Nobody told us that staying in survival mode for too long changes the way of how we sleep, we eat, we think, we feel, and even we heal. Many people think hormones are only related to periods, thyroid, menopause, or weight gain. But hormones are actually your body's internal messengers. They influence your energy, mood, focus, cravings, sleep, emotions, metabolism, and even your motivation. And stress directly talks to these hormones every single day. When stress becomes constant, the body releases more cortisol, commonly called the stress hormones. Now, cortisol is not bad. Cortisol is required. It is very much essential to respond during danger and pressure. But the problem starts when the body never gets a single signal for the safety. And honestly, many people today are not running from danger. They are running from deadlines, emotional overload, overthinking, comparison, guilt, pressure to be perfect, and constant mental noise. The body does not always differentiate between emotional stress and physical danger. So, even while sitting quietly, the nervous system may still feel like it is under attack. And over time, people may notice things like waking up tired even after sleep, irritability without reason, emotional eating, loss of appetite, hair fall, fatigue, mood swings, and brain fog. Also, they may feel feeling disconnected from joy, irregular cycles, low patience, feeling off but unable to explain why. Sometimes the body is not weak, it is simply overwhelmed. What many of us needed while growing up was not just motivation, but body awareness. To understand how does my body respond to stress? What happens inside me when I suppress emotions? When was the last time I truly felt calm? Because healing does not always be with doing more. Sometimes healing begins with noticing more. And here is something beautiful I want you to remember today. Your body is not against you, it is constantly communicating with you. Fatigue may be communication, irritation might be communication, exhaustion may be communication. The body whispers first before it starts shouting. So, and maybe adulthood is not only about becoming successful outside, maybe it is also about learning to feel safe inside our own bodies again. So, today I invite you to pause for just 1 minute after this podcast. Place your hand on your heart and simply sit quietly and ask yourself gently, what has my body been trying to tell me lately? No judgment, no fixing, just awareness. Because awareness itself can become the beginning of transformation. Thank you so much for spending these few mindful moments with me today. If this conversation resonated with you, do share it with someone who may need this reminder too. Until next time, take care of your body, your mind, and silent stress you carry. This is Dr. Soumya Srinivasan with the vision of empowering health awareness for all. Thank you very much.
And with that, we come to the end of today's roundtable conversation. A big thank you to all our amazing speakers for sharing their thoughts, experiences, and insights. And thank you to everyone who joined us and stayed till the end. We hope this conversations gave you something meaningful to reflect and take back into your life. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and keep showing up for yourself. Thank you, everyone.